Hi everyone, all you beautiful leaders. There was a question asked by Alison Bartolo about whether anyone's had any experience in working with wellness in the workplace. And I've done a few things in the legal space, and Kristen Thrush suggested I jump on and do a live video and share my experience. So that's what I'm doing. To give you a bit of background, last year during Diamond Club, I did a couple of lunchtime seminars at a law firm in Sydney, which is where my sister works. She's one of the partners there. And in February, I was talking to her about coming back and doing some more. I'm doing Diamond Club again this year and just wanting to do it a little bit differently. Really wanting to help support lawyers with stress and sleep and all those sorts of things. And so we had talked previously about different ways to do that, to perhaps make it a little bit better than just the lunchtime workshops I'd done last year. And so what we did, some of this was her suggestion, and at this point I've only done this with law firms. Her law firm is massive. It's one of the world's largest law firms. They've got offices all around the world, but in Sydney and Brisbane, and I've done stuff there. And I've learned a lot, I've made mistakes, and I'm kind of in the middle of that. I'm hoping to go back and follow up with some people actually tomorrow or Friday in Sydney. So pretty fresh, open to lots of ideas. So if you've got questions or comments, pop them in. But what we discussed, my sister and I, was that we needed things. A, they needed to be on lifelong vitality, and B, we needed to talk about using oils that you could keep in the desk drawer that were really easy. So maybe some rollers, not so much about diffusing, but things that were just going to help them in the moment in the office. So what I did was put together a bit of a trial kit. She suggested sending some things ahead of time that they could put in a shared the shared kitchen, where they could roll things on and give them a play before I came down, which I think is a great idea. But I've learned a few things with that too. So what I did is I put together an essential oil trial, what I called a trial collection. I put together a little sheet with, try me for energy and motivation, try me for, calming, try me for mood lifting, those types of things. And I sent down a little pouch, a little pencil case, I guess, with samples. And so I'm not going to go through all of this now, but to give you an idea, like I used Peace, and I just decanted them into little thing. I certainly didn't send whole rollers. They're basically samples, but I wanted to send them kind of in the size that you would buy them, so that they're also getting that idea and not just little tiny things. I sent peppermint beadlets. I sent ice blue rub in a little tub. I did send a diffuser and a couple of oils because the HR girl that was coordinating it asked me to do that. And interestingly, in Sydney, that was no problem. In Brisbane, when I did that, someone, whoever their, I don't know, safety person, said it wasn't tested and tagged, so couldn't be used in the kitchen in the Brisbane office. So that might depend a little bit on, I guess, who's in charge. Sorry, my little hands-free thing's a bit wonky. I sent, what other rollers did I send? In Tune for focus. I sent past tense, obviously sitting at a desk all day. Peppermint for energy. I sent some wild orange, lemon. What else? Smart and sassy, because I thought that was, easy way to just drop it in your water. So that's pretty much what I sent. So rollers and a few things that you could just easily add a drop into your water. I also sent my little cards, which I've got little diffuser ideas and roller recipe ideas. And I sent diffuser instructions. So pretty much everything. And like, I know I used to be a lawyer, so, I know there's a whole lot of things to be wary of, I guess. And so I made sure I put that in the things to watch. I made sure that when I talked about dropping things in your water, like the Smart and Sassy, that I also said you could put it in the diffuser. So there was or just, all completely compliant, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. What I found then was, so at the time, so I sent the trial kit, also sent a sheet that had some appointment slots. So after having done the lunchtime workshops, I worked out that actually what would be better, and possibly better particularly for the lawyers, is to offer one-on-one appointments. And so we called them a wellness check-in. The sheets were left with the trial kit. People could slot their name in for just a 30-minute appointment. And then I also did a lunchtime seminar. So what I found was that the lawyers tended to book in for the one-on-ones. So when I went to Sydney a couple of weeks ago, I did 4 one-on-ones, 3 were lawyers, 1 was finance person. At the lunchtime seminar, I think there was 1 lawyer, but that was pretty much the whole HR department and the smattering of other people. So if you're going to do this in the workplace, my suggestion is obviously if you're working with people that you already know or that are on board with oils, that's better. And whilst my sister is on board with it, she is very high up and, wasn't sort of involved in the implementation of this. And so I probably should have worked a little bit more closely with the HR people that really did implement it. They were very keen, but don't have any experience of using the oils. And so what I found was when people came to the one-on-ones, there were a couple of people that said, look, I don't really know why I'm here. I just saw wellness and thought it was a good idea. So in 30 minutes to try to explain essential oils as part of a healthy lifestyle and then go through some things that might support their needs and then turn that into a sale was pretty intense. And ideally I'd allow longer than that, but 30 minutes I think allowed them time to feel that they could duck away from their desk and have a bit of a chat. And certainly in that trip, that was where the enrollments came from, was from the one-on-ones. I found at the lunchtime seminar, I had about 14 or 15 people, super keen, really enthusiastic, no one bought anything. And my mistake was to not do a lucky door prize and collect people's email addresses. So I've had no way to individually follow up with people that came to that seminar. I've had to do it through the HR people. And so I guess I just don't know what's happening there. So think about how you're going to do follow up. Yeah, I guess that would be my my tip or my missed opportunities, but I'm trying to fix that up and I'll try to pop in next week. Then I have done the lunchtime seminars. I did that in the Brisbane office as well. I pretty much in Sydney ran a normal nature solutions class really quickly. And I think that was great. People were thinking about their home lives as well, which obviously is good. Yeah, but as I said, it certainly at this point hasn't translated into any sales. So I think people are thinking I've got to get back to my desk. So you've got to really think about doing it short, sharp. I decided when I did the lunchtime seminar in the Brisbane office, which was a week later, to do a little bit differently. And I thought I've actually put together all the items that I'd put in the little trial kit, I had actually packaged up as a suggested office kit to purchase, and I had packaged it up with a few of the things and some suggested items for a LRP order. No one's actually bought that, but I thought the Brisbane one, I actually taught to that. I did the front page of the Nature Solutions kit for all the safety information, a little bit about doTERRA, and then I talked through the different items that I'd put in that office kit and why I'd put them there and how they could support them in that office environment. And I think in that scenario, that was probably the better option than doing a normal kind of class. I think like anything, wellness in the workplace, when there are people, it's the follow-up. Fortune is in the follow-up. And so it's working out how you can follow up with those people, both individually and as a corporation. I know for these law firms, they do wellness weeks. And so I'm going to be talking with the HR people about what I can do as part of Wellness Week for them, and whether it's just the same or something different. So I think a lot of corporations are doing wellness weeks now. So I'm starting to think about how I can tap into that. So there we go. That's what I've been doing. I've got a couple of other law firms or lawyers that I know that I'm going to approach. I'm just waiting to get some feedback from these two so that I can have some testimonials, I suppose, as to how it's worked for them in their workplace. And what I'd also like to do is talk to them about actually the firm buying some oils to use. I'm not quite sure how yet, but I think the HR departments are probably the good connection points, because they're the ones that are looking after that health and wellness, I suppose, for their staff. So I think that's the key, is to get in the HR departments and spread out from there. So I still don't have lots of tips about getting the professionals in, but I think it's slow and steady, and I think it's like anything. It's like building relationships with an organisation and the key people within that organisation. So if you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. I'm happy to do it afterwards, but that's what I've done so far. And if other people have had experience of wellness in the workplace, love to know what you're doing too. Bye.